Iron Man issue 17. That's right, folks. The storyline where, Tony's a god now. It is picking up in a big way. I know Cantwell said this storyline ends at 19. Like, this overarching theme he was doing throughout the beginning of his book, it ends with 19. So after this issue, there's only 2 left, which is kind of a big deal to me, because I'm like, how are we wrapping up this story in such a big way when we still got so much of it to tell? But, all that being said, this issue was really fun. There was just so much beauty to it, so much intricate detail to it, that's like, when you are pitching a Tony Stark book, I don't think anybody's thought to do this before and make it work so well. So, the end of the last issue, Tony said, guess what? I'm a god now. I'm going to make everybody in New York smarter. They're all going to have my IQ, which I guess is a level 185. I don't know what IQ is, but I know that's good. So basically, we just see reports that like 34 separate diseases, 4 of them terminal, have been cured by people in like the hospital. 11 other illnesses have been eradicated by like people like taxi drivers and short order cooks and all that stuff. Basically like a destruction problem. We're like learning to clean up like our environment, and all like the shorelines are being better here in New York. Literally some of like these students in like universities and colleges are just sick of like all of this boring work they're being put to do. So they're walking out in protest of having to like do this stupid work that they already understand at such a high level. Like, what's the point of even going to school? Like, the stock market is in full crash. Things are taking an insane turn in the stock market. Like, people don't even understand how bad things are getting there. And like, so many bank robberies are actually being done properly. Like, they're being foiled in such brilliant, precise ways that police can't stop them. And you see like the amount of people trying to take over the world in the last like 72 hours is like increased by like 14 people. Like, it's insane the amount of like intelligence that's going around the world right now. New York has become the smartest place in the world. And the amount of like insanity ensuing from it is reaping both positive benefits and negative benefits, which is like, okay, I think that's kind of cool. Tony Stark built like this prison for all the people trying to take over the world. He put them in like this weird box, and we see like the police are being suited up with like these intense things. A lot of the law enforcement are headed to space to become space cops. They're essentially becoming Green Lanterns. It's insanely weird. Like, I'm like, this is so brilliant. Like, this is a Tony Stark book. It's like, I can change the world. I'm going to start small just by fixing New York City. And then all of a sudden, look at everything that's happening in New York City. And we see the news reporter who is saying all this stuff is just like, well, this is great, but frankly, I don't care about any of this. I'm quitting my job. I built a teleportation device. I'm headed out here. I sold it for trillions. Get fucked. And she just leaves. And we see that Patsy is watching this on a television with Dr. Doom in the other room. And Doom, she called Doom last issue because it's like, if anybody can stop this fucking lunatic from ruining the world, it's going to be Doom. And basically, Doom's going to meet our team. So the Human Torch, Jim Hammond is here, Rhodey is here, Halcyon is here, Frogman, and Gargoyle. And basically, none of them knew that Patsy was going to call Doom. And she's like, we need somebody who is smart enough to have a blocker put up in case any of the heroes did something this idiotical. So we learn later on in the issue that Doom actually had like some magic charm put in his head. So if he is in the vicinity of somebody tampering with his mind in any way, it won't affect him. So his intelligence remains the same that it's always been throughout his entire conception, which is a very cool thing to see. And basically, the group gets into an argument about like the benefits and the side effects of everything Tony did. You see, Halcyon was able to like literally communicate with his hands now, so like he can actually talk through them. They actually like created something that allows him to speak through his hands. And even Frogman's like, Tony is probably a god, so maybe we should let this play out because gods are okay at everything. Gods are good. But you see Rhodey, Jim, and Patsy are like, this cannot continue. Like, the way Tony went about doing all of this is not the right way. So, no man should play God. Nobody should do any of that. And as they're kind of like arguing to themselves, who comes from the sky but none other than the Silver Surfer. He shows up, everyone looks up at him, and then we cut to a boardroom where everyone in the world's pretty much yelling at Tony like, you can't do this. And he's playing like the Dr. Manhattan bored God act. He snaps his fingers and turns everybody into yuppies who agree with everything he's doing. He walks out of the room. And this is where we cut back to see that Doom built like this device that will amplify the power cosmic inside a Surfer, and hopefully it'll be enough to like absorb the power coming from Tony, and we can revert him back to himself before all these events happened. Is it gonna work? Probably not, because Tony shows up and everyone's putting on like a brave face where they're just pretending everything's okay, just looking so silly about everything. And you know, I love the way Frogman's costume turns into like a smile or a gasped expression. It's very funny, very silly. But when Tony realizes that all his friends are lying to him, they don't actually support what he's doing, things take a big turn. It kind of comes to a head when you see that Patsy is just pretending to be in support of him. And he's like, your opinion means the most to me, Pats. Like, you're the only one I really trust. And she's like, are you kidding me? All your bullshit you're putting everybody through, this is not the way to get things done. Like, why do you think this is going to help anybody? You insane lunatic. And up in the sky, we see that Surfer and Doom are watching this. They're like, I think this just took a bad turn. So Tony starts to, cosmic out, and then Surfer comes into the attack, and Doom comes into the attack, and basically he's like, you guys set me up? How dare you set me up? And what ensues is literal anarchy, because Tony has the power of a god and the mind of Tony Stark. So when Tony is a reckless man who is hopped up on morphine for most of his life, who has the addiction habits of a junkie, and now he suddenly has to be right. Like, the theme of this book is Tony has to be right for everybody, even if his right's the wrong way. He knows what's best for every person, so his right is the right way. Well, what happens when that man has the power of a god, and he's coming up against a big ego and a big power cosmic that could potentially destroy him? I'll tell you what happens. Tony kills them. Tony literally vaporizes Silver Surfer out of existence. He literally just turns Doom into his skull and he's gone. He destroys Frogman. He destroys Gargoyle. He destroys Jim Hammond and Halcyon. And basically the last little bit is just him having a conversation with Rhodes, which makes sense because Rhodes is his best friend. It's his oldest contemporary. He's like, dude, I don't see Korvac around anymore. You built this to stop Korvac, and you literally became the thing Korvac was. You are so hypocritical, and it's insane. Like, I know everything you do is about being right and protecting the people that need it, Tony. That's why you built the suit in the first place. So what the hell are you so afraid of? Why do you have to keep doing this and protecting everybody? And he's like, wake up, Tony. And he just punches him in, and he kills Rhodey. And that kind of wakes him up, and he sees the mess he left behind with all the dead people. And this is when Patsy's like, I guess it's my turn, huh? At least I'll go out a hero and a friend. And you see the mess that Tony left brings him to tears, and the god is finally brought back to his human form where he sees the destruction he left behind. And holy shit, that is a big moment. Of course, you're not going to kill any of these characters. Like, I guess you could kill, Frogman, Halcyon, Jim Hammond, but you're not killing Surfer, Doom, or Rhodey. But my goodness. What a great way to build up the tension for this book, because it's needed it. It needed that, big oomph to show that Tony's really gone off the deep end, and I really like it. It's dark. It's actually terrifying to see Tony in this state where he can do all this good, but he's not. There's something very broken about that, and it's just such a scary thought and something that's terrifying to see. I think it's fantastic because the book both presents the idea that what Tony is doing can work, and what Tony is doing is amplify the arrogance in people to become the things that he has already himself become. It's brilliant writing, and this is going to be, I think, I said it before, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years time, we're going to be looking back on this era of Iron Man and being like, this is the best deconstruction of the character since his conception. It's a brilliant piece, and I'm very curious to see what is coming next from this book. I love it. So Iron Man, issue number 17. I'm going to give a 9 out of 10. And thank you guys for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, and I will catch you in the next one. Have fun, stay safe, good luck.